Hello?
We got 4. It's Jenkins.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye. All right.
Did you get up?
I don't see me.
It's my agenda. Mr. Raymond. Oh. I'm sorry. Did you get the agenda I emailed out? You're on mute. You're muted.
Okay. All right. I just printed it out a few minutes.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you.
You're up there.
That's the one I'm saying on the computer.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not up there. I know. No, little dark square. Let me see. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, this is Sylvia.
Hi, Miss Sylvia. How are you?
I'm fine. I don't know why my picture's not showing up.
Look down in the bottom and make sure you don't have it. Make sure you don't have it on mute in the corner by the sound button. It should say stop video, start video. As long as it's not a cross, we'll see your picture. In the left-hand corner, if you're looking at your computer.
Okay.
How are you, Miss Sidbury?
I am fine. My day is not over yet.
Mine isn't either. Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm okay.
That's
Is my agenda. It's 4:03. Want to give him a few more minutes, Mr. Davis? You're on mute.
All right. I had so many distractions in here. I got the dog. I got Tamika in the other room. I got the other.
I'm sorry. I understand totally. Yeah, I get it.
We'll give him 3 more minutes.
Yeah, Tiba said he's logging in now, so he should be in a few minutes.
Okay.
Heather, give me a copy of the agenda. Thank you.
Did I hear Sylvia was there?
Yes,
sir.
I'm here, but my picture won't show up. That's okay.
It's all right.
Let's see, Tasha Thomas.
I don't have an agenda.
I emailed it. Did you check your email?
I did. I'm looking at it now. I don't see one.
It should be there. Heather.
Okay,
Did you get it?
I see it now.
Okay, so it looks like Atiba's trying to. Good evening, Mr. Johnson.
Good evening.
Okay, 819 1228 0393 code 881835. Okay, Tasha Thomas is trying to log in.
It's
Wait,
letting
hold
me.
on. There's Willie Black.
Thank you, Heather. Okay.
Hey, Willie Black.
Hey, it's me.
Was that Willie? Yeah, he's on. Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Okay, all right. Good evening, everyone. And I would like to thank each and every one of y'all for logging in today. I know it's been several months since we have made contact with each other. So if any of y'all would like to say some encouraging words to us, we'll go around the horn and everybody can just kind of give a good welcome.
Well, it's nice to see you guys. I'm glad to see that everybody's healthy and okay.
Would you like to say anything?
Hey, Tasha Thomas.
Hey. How are you?
Tasha, hi.
Tasha,
Hey.
hey, Mr. Chairman just called the meeting to order. He asked if anyone to have anything to say, encouraging words or welcome. If Willie is the only one that said anything so far. Not sure if you want to say anything, and then we will go on for the agenda, and then we'll let if you don't have anything to say, we'll let the new member, who's Ms. Sidbury, introduce herself to the commission.
Oh, I'm okay.
Okay.
Tiba?
Ms. Sidbury, you're on mute.
I'm multitasking. Hi, my name is Kamika Sidbury, and I am a longtime Wilmingtonian native. And I appreciate this opportunity to serve with everyone on the board. Currently, I am a mother. I am also educator. I work at DC Virgo Preparatory Academy here in Wilmington. We are currently a lab school under UNCW, where I teach middle grade science and math. I also work at Cape Fear Community College in adult education program. I think I filled out this application about 2 years ago because I was just interested in understanding key concepts or ways that I can give back to a city that has given so much to me. I do it, I feel like through education, but sometimes it has to be more through advocacy and outreach. So I just want to say thank you for having me, everyone. And I look forward to working with you for the long time, for the 2 years.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Berry. If anyone else would like to join in and give us a hearty welcome, since we've been missing in action for several months.
Well, Mr. Barry, this is Sylvia. Glad to have you. The only encouraging words I have to say are keep on keeping on.
Well, that's great.
Thank you, Miss Sylvia.
Okay, on the agenda is introduction of the, and we've already done that with Ms. Sidbury, an update on, have we got any updates? Mr. Black, I think you were working on one of the updates with the Althea Gibson's plaque. What have y'all, what is the resolution on that?
No, I was actually working on the, the plaque for, yes, you're correct, the plaque for the house at 1406 Orange Street. And I've been working on it, but I needed some information, some additional information. And that was, I needed an example of an application that was submitted, just so that I would know the parameters of what how each question needed to be answered. Because I do have information, I just don't know if I just don't know what to put. I don't want to put too much information or too little.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, if I could just stop 1 second for the commission, and maybe it'll help because you all have not met since March the 2nd of 2020 because of the pandemic. So for everyone's purposes, especially Ms. Sidbury, as a reminder to revisit the purpose of this commission. And of course, you all, and like she said, she filled out the application 2 years ago. The purpose of the commission, or the mission of this commission, is to plan, develop, and implement community projects to recognize and increase the awareness of the contributions of African Americans in Wilmington's history, and to encourage and assist African American history to be recognized, whether it be through sites or significant places within our community. And so as a result of that, the commission has taken on several projects. And as Mr. Willie was starting to explain or talk about, was the 1406 Orange Street, which is the old Dr. Hubert Eaton Jr.'s residence that's now owned by Lenny Simpson. And Lenny Simpson had met with the chairman, Mr. Davis, and talked about trying to have an official plaque to recognize the significance of this house, which of course he does One Love Tennis at, is very successful. And this process that Willie is referring to is a process that's done with a combination of local historians as well as through the state of North Carolina. And so Willie got the packet that we put together that our former historic preservation person, Don Snutherly, worked on. And the state received, I think Don sent a note just as an FYI to make them aware that the commission was going to be submitting this application. It's hard, Willie, to find an example, but what I've done is I've pulled out one from a historic preservation application, which was local, because the information that they want on the state level is very similar. Mr. Simpson submitted a lot of information, but it wasn't exactly what they were asking for. And that's why I think we reached out to you to take the lead as the chairperson, because it's a combination of what you bring to the table by you living in the historic district,
Yes.
what they're looking for on the state level to create this packet.
Mhm.
What I would say is, as a follow-up in preparation for next month's meeting,
Mhm.
two of us can sit down and I can kind of do a Zoom call with you, just like we're doing today,
Okay.
and try to fill in the blanks for what you're missing, because I think we have all the information. It's just a matter of putting
Mhm.
it, oops, I'm sorry. It's just a matter of putting it into order
That's correct. Yes.
so that you can submit it to them. I will tell you, if I'm not mistaken, if you haven't been by 1406 Orange Street, I will tell you that I think there's a plaque already on the house that
Mhm.
local historians work with Lenny and put it on there, but it doesn't carry the same significance as the one that we're working on.
Mhm.
But I think it'll help get buy-in from the state if we can,
Yes.
to our
Yes.
packet, or either get a letter of some sort that says we support this, that, and the third.
Yes.
So
I did pull information from the archives, from the
right, right,
National Register of Historic Places.
right. So I think if we, as a guide, if that'll help, I can pull an application packet that I have from the Historic Preservation Commission,
Yes.
and then we can build upon it from there. If
Yeah, that would definitely help.
okay. And then the second thing that's most important, Mr. Chairman, that the commission was working on was the Colored Troops project, which was at the Cameron Arts Museum. I think I sent you all some information where they had the artist that built the sculpture that's on display there at the museum. The museum just opened back up. I think they wanted you all at some point to maybe stop in or stop by to see it. And then, of course, they were trying to plan a fundraiser that they wanted the commission to participate in. And the commission wasn't really excited about that, but wanted to be involved because you all did help get to this point with the Colored Troops. And Willie recalled that because he and Miss Glancy, Tasha's mom, worked hard on that project.
Yes.
It wasn't really anything the commission was to do other than they want you all to stop by to kind of see how it was going. The third thing is the commission had the mayor do a proclamation, which was Tasha Thomas's project on Dr. Deborah Saunders White Day, which was done in February because of Black History Month. And as a reminder, we said we start early working towards something to honor her and maybe try to ask for this proclamation every year because she had an impact on the community and at UNCW. The other thing that you all talked about was the Emancipation Proclamation, which is a project that the NAACP was working on, and they asked the commission to take the lead on that. That, of course, is done in January. And so you've got some time, but not really that much time, because I think we ought to be thinking about ways or things that we can do virtual, because that seems to be kind of where we're going to be for the next couple of months. Something that we can do to honor and to recognize the Emancipation Proclamation. You all also received back in a note from Kim Adams, who works here at the city. There was a note that she sent out about if the commission was interested in doing something with diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative. And you all probably don't remember that, but I can resend that email out with the backup information, because now of all times, I think when Kim was working on this, it really wasn't very, we weren't in the same frame of mind or doing what we're doing now with Black Lives Matter and all the things that have come up since the George Floyd incident. But I can resend that so you all can decide what role you want to play in that project with her. The other thing was the New Hanover County Commission on African American History, which of course Atiba is very familiar with because his wife serves on that board. I think they had talked to Atiba about trying to do something jointly with you all. Was not exactly sure what it was they wanted, but I think that, and Atiba, you jump in, I think that they were more or less brainstorming on some ideas and some things that you all could do together or do in collaboration with one another. Atiba, did you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I don't actually know what they wanted from us. I think they're shooting in the dark. I think like everything else, because of COVID, um, everything kind of went to the wayside. But they have been meeting consistently every month, but just with no substance. I'll put it that way. They
Okay.
wanted, don't know what they want to do.
Right. I do know that they were looking at historical places, and they were down in the Seabreeze community. There was a old African American Black graveyard site that they were working on. I'm trying to identify some of those things, which is kind of it's outside the city limits. So I'm not sure what you all can do, but I did talk to their staff person, of course. Tafana Bradley was the staff person. Now, of course, it's Linda Thompson, that's their staff person. So I asked her to either send something via email or use Atiba as your liaison to get whatever information we need to get, so we can get it to the chairman and get it out to you all. Do know that they've been looking at what you've done in the past, trying to figure out how they could fit. But I don't think they're exactly sure where they're headed. The other thing, the big thing, of course, is your youth awards banquet that was on the calendar. Tasha Thomas, Atiba worked on it, along with one of our former board members. And I will tell you, we had the location, we had the judges, we had the camera, and we were getting applications. I received 2 applications from Rolling Rice School, and I had 2 that were coming to me from New Hanover High School. You all need to decide or prioritize how you want to, kind of go after these projects, or decide what you want to do with these projects. There are some things that you can do virtual. But as you all know, our children are working from home virtual school right now. That could change, but of course, it's all driven by the school system. I will say that I got a call from the superintendent's office in June, and they were just checking in to make sure that this was something the commission would continue to do once we were open and up and running, but no one thought we'd be this long with this pandemic. And I told them in talking to Atiba, I would continue to accept applications, keep them on file here, and whenever you all decided where you wanted to go from here with that, we would pick up with it. So I think the big thing, like I said, you'll have to do some prioritizing. So I think what Willie is working on with the 1406 marker is great. That can be something you can do virtual. And then the diversity information from Kim Adams, I can send that to you all, and you all can decide how you want to work with that particular project. Now, the city and the county both have been tasked with doing more with diversity, and Evelyn's been involved with that as well. The commission, well, let me back up. The deputy city manager, Tom Moten, which I don't know if you all remember Tom, is one of the co-chairs on the city side that's working on this diversity, equity, and inclusion. The mayor has laid out a plan for us on the city side. The county has laid out a plan on the county side. And of course, that's what Linda Thompson, I'm sorry, is going to be working on. So I think the thing to think about there is for the commission to brainstorm, think about if you all would want to participate, what your role would be, how can we get you all, because we also have a community relations board that Evelyn is chair of that's also working on the same subject. There's a lot of moving targets, moving pieces, and maybe you don't want to have anything to do with it other than be a resource or give guidance or recommendation, whatever you want it to be. But I was asked by Tom if the commission was even interested in something like that. So I know I've given out a lot and I've said a lot, but I was just trying to give you a refresher, quick course on where we left off and how do we want to begin. I will say that these meetings will probably continue to be Zoom meetings for the next couple of months. But I figured that we had to get you all back on the schedule to get you started. Now, when it becomes a time that we meet in person, if you all decide you want to meet in person, we can work it out at the convention center because there's plenty of space. Of course, must wear masks, must take a temperature, must be 6 feet apart. and we cannot have more than, I think it's up now to 25 people in a room, which of course you are a committee of 9. So that's not a problem. But if we can do things and keep it Zoom meetings and emails and phone calls, then I'm okay with doing whatever you guys would like to do. That works best for most, especially if you don't feel comfortable coming out. So you tell me, Mr. Chairman, that's a lot of information. I'll be happy to answer any questions. I'll be happy to clarify. I'll be happy to go back and talk about any of the things that I just got through speaking about.
You're right, Ms. Seabury. That was a lot. What I would like to do is maybe zero in on maybe a couple of things that I'm quite sure that maybe we can get done within the next 2 or 3 months. And then start on that and then move forward. And that's the reason I guess we bring it before everybody, the body, and let us vote on it. And maybe we can zero in on maybe 2 good items that we need to work on. And so what does the commission think? You think that's a good idea, just to zero in on maybe possibly 2 good items to work on them and get them finished? Because there are a lot of things like the one, Mr. Black, you're working on. We've been working on that for over a year.
Yes.
And I would like to get that done. And maybe after we get that done, maybe we can zero in on the next big project, you know, maybe whatever we decide. So is there any info we'd like to throw out now and maybe help us zero in on this so we can start getting some things done? Because, you know, we've been absent now for about 7 months.
Mr. Chairman, can Ms. Spicer explain the Emancipation Proclamation project again? Ms. Seabury, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. The Emancipation Proclamation project is where the NAACP coordinated a program with St. Stephen's Church, and more or less just came together, had some speakers on a program, talked about the Emancipation Proclamation and what it meant and what it means. And so she just had a hard time with her being just one person with NAACP, trying to coordinate that with the different churches, because I think St. Stephen's hosted it, but they had several other churches that was involved with it. If it's something that you all was interested, and it's usually done around January, February, we can easily do, you know, make sure the mayor proclaims the month, Emancipation Proclamation month or week, and then maybe have some either some essay type competition through the churches or through connection. Of course, Ms. Seabury works at 2 different locations in education, or just put something out there online. We can do it online. We can do it virtual. We can put it on our website. Just another project to give for our youth. And then have some type of gift card prize or something that the children could benefit from. It's more of an educational piece.
This is Evelyn. So sorry I came on late. I'm going from one Zoom to another. But I think that the Emancipation Proclamation idea would be a great start to what, when we even talk about diversity and inclusion, and how can we educate the community even on what the Emancipation Proclamation is, because a lot of people don't know. But how did that look in Wilmington, given the history, given what's going on now, and how can we make sure that we intersect with even the project that the mayor has going on? So I think that that is important, number one. But number 2, it would build that bridge or connect the pieces to everything that we said that we were doing. So.
Can I ask a question? And so when I'm thinking about the Emancipation Proclamation project, you're saying it's going to happen in around January, February, correct?
That's when it normally happens, but it could be a month or it could be a year long.
Okay. So, okay, that's what I need to understand, because January you have MLK holiday. So usually it's some kind of writing or reflection contest around that. Then February you have Black History Month. And so when you talk about Emancipation Proclamation and you talk about looking at it, you know, and I know you're part of the Juneteenth Commission also, and I didn't know like how it actually fit in, but if you kind of maybe put the prizes around the Juneteenth Commission and you talking about the collaboration of family, and then you start to kind of explore what Emancipation Proclamation and what that really means around that time frame. And when you start talking about the reunification of the whole family and all of that, then I think that may have a better entitlement instead of just plotting it somewhere or whatever. But you know, just start the discussion. Okay, just start the discussion then.
So I think that's great, Mr. Chairman. If I could get maybe 2 or 3 commission members to work with me, and then at your October meeting, we can bring back a plan for that, because that could something that we can easily do from our offices or from our homes. And I'm okay with that. So, you know, Evelyn brought up a good point, and Ms. Sidbury brought up a good point. If they would like to join me on let's put something together for the commission, that would really help me tremendously.
Like a great idea. Is Evelyn,
That's fine.
Okay.
volunteer, you and Ms. Sidbury to join Ms. Sidbury?
Yeah, I'll help too.
Well,
Okay.
Penny, you Miss Sidbury, Penny Spicer Sidbury, you know you got me on all angles. So, I think it's important. I think it's good because, as Miss Sidbury pointed out, that is during the time that the MLK. So, if for those who don't know, I serve on the MLK committee also. So when we talk about organizations and committees that really work together, I think it would be powerful for the month of January leading into February with supposedly Black History Month. So, yeah.
So we've got a quick turnaround. So Miss Sylvia, Miss Sidbury, and Miss Evelyn, I'll be calling upon you, not tomorrow because it's council day, but Wednesday. I'll be sending something to you guys. And we can,
Okay.
we got to have a quick turnaround. I appreciate it. Thank y'all so very much.
Mhm.
And I actually have in my possession an actual Emancipation Proclamation that my mom had, that she passed on to me, that I would bring and share for you all to take a look at. It's very impressive to read it and understand it. So thank you so much for that. So Emancipation Proclamation is one project, and then Willie's project, which is 1406, Mr. Chairman. I think you got your 2 priorities right there.
Ms. Sidbury, also I'd like to wish y'all condolence in the passing of your mother, since you said that.
Thank you.
And I should have mentioned that from the very beginning. I'm sure that each and every one of the commission members feel the same.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. So we've got our 2 on the agenda. Is there anything else that you think that we need to bring up? And while we've got everybody here?
Well, I have a question. So are these just 2 things that we're going into 2020, 2020?
You're on mute. You're on mute. Unmute yourself.
Evelyn, you're on mute.
You are muted. Okay. You were muted. We didn't hear you.
My phone is ringing. So since we are in COVID, and I'm just throwing this out, and we kind of know how to do virtual meetings, et cetera, and so forth, what if the Commission on African American History did a series maybe once a quarter on the history of the inner city Wilmington, picking out something that, say for instance, with even the Emancipation Proclamation, if I'm not mistaken, Red Cross Street, that time frame or that era, they were doing, they did a parade, if I'm not mistaken, it was something centered around in that area, and just sharing information about the history of Wilmington, and as far as how the African American history has shaped Wilmington. even from then up until today.
I think that's a good idea. I think, and you can even put it in a perspective of what does it mean to be Black in Wilmington, and have an art project on that, or have some type of art contest to where people who are, I mean, creative in any kind of fashion, and they can display, you know, like how PTA does the reflections contest, and how you can promote it in different ways. And I guess we can just better talk about this in that small group setting, but I think that's a great idea.
I like that idea as well. And if we like, I guess, share it via social media, it'll help maintain engagement with the community, and kind of get our name out there because a lot of people don't know we exist. And it's another option besides doing things in person. Doing it virtually sounds great. I do have a question, Penny, or Evelyn. What's the likelihood of the Martin Luther King parade being held in January?
What's your question? I didn't hear.
Oh, I said, what's the likelihood of the Martin Luther King parade being held in January?
MLK parade?
We probably will not have a parade. No.
I'm thinking that parades and festivals is probably going to be a conversation for 2021, to be honest.
Makes sense.
Probably not seeing it maybe until 2022. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that until they get a some kind of vaccine of some sort, and even when they get the vaccine, it's going to be another long process. So I think the big thing is, and then that's what I'm telling even other organizations, it's going to be 2021, I think, because of course you have the election that's November that folks are trying to focus down on, and then December is right around the corner. So I think it's 2021. We're praying that we'll be able to get halfway back to the norm. And even after we get a vaccine, it's going to be a process as well. I think we're still going to have lots of restrictions of things that we can and cannot have when it draws out a lot of people. But I'll be happy to keep you all posted on that. But I don't think it's going to be within 2021. Okay. I think 2020 is a wrap right now.
Yeah, I think it is too, and possibly 2021 too.
And I will say, we hate to see Larisha leave us, but she went on to back to school, bigger and better things. I think that once we know what's going to happen with our school-age children, the youth banquet is kind of put on hold for right now, because it's too much unknown.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Do you think that maybe, and then you said we put it on hold, I was thinking maybe a virtual youth banquet somehow for 2021, but I don't think we would get the gist of it if we just did it virtual, you know?
I understand. Yeah. We can just keep it on the radar screen and in our list of items for the commission to do when the time comes, but without the schools and the churches, and see some of the churches, most of the churches are not open as well. And that's kind of where we drew our recommendations from.
Is any of the churches open back up that anyone knows?
I think Union is drive-up service. Union Baptist is drive-up service.
Macedonia is.
Macedonia.
There's some churches that are open even though they worship on the outside.
Right.
And so, and this is something to keep in mind. I wouldn't necessarily discount anything that we do for the youth. My question was, if there was any responses. I guess I did not hear whether or not there was a response back from the school or any other organizations that submitted information for you, because just keeping them engaged, we could do something virtual where, you know, we showcase the participants and the contestants and just talk about what they've done in the community, highlight their accomplishments, and then, give them an award. But, yes, COVID has put us back, but it also has given us time to reflect and look at different ways on how to continue the progress that we need to move forward on.
That's a good idea. I like that idea of maybe recognizing something, doing something, even if it's just virtual, to kind of get out in front with the youth to let them know that, that we're still here and we still care about them,
Right. I think the only way that's going to work, to be honest, is if you've got the school on board. Mm-hmm. And your contact in the school's system was Valita Quattlebaum. Mm-hmm. And of course, we know we have a new superintendent that's got his hands full. I think the first thing, and of course, I don't know if Evelyn heard this, but the response I got back from the school was back in June. It was kind of like making sure that it's okay to submit, but they had too many unknowns to do anything as far as recommending, children for this award. So if this commission wants to do virtual, then I think, Mr. Chairman, somebody on this commission is going to have to take it as a project, and then start beating up against the door, knocking on the door, and reminding, because 2 or 3 of the counselors that work with us are no longer at those particular schools. And Hanover High School was one, and Laney was another one. And they crossed over to other schools. So, and then Belita kind of monitor all the schools to keep everybody engaged. So virtual is great, and I agree we should keep our youth informed, but it's going to be a requirement or a necessity of someone here on this board that's going to take it on as a project to get the responses and the participation. One of the people that got recommended for an award now has moved on to college, but of course they're doing college from their home. So interest may be there, may not be there, but I'm open, whatever you all want to do, but somebody's gonna have to take it on as a project.
Okay, well, maybe we can discuss this at our next meeting, as maybe one of our third projects, and maybe get something off the ground on that, because I think it could work if we make it work.
Yes, sir.
We might know more anyway by the time the end of the 9 weeks. Mm-hmm. And if they return to Plan B, that will probably give us a better idea of where we can start from there. Because if they continue to be virtual, that could continue to complicate things. And grades might be, community involvement and everything's one thing, but I don't know. Do we consider grades or GPA?
Well, that's something we probably need to discuss. I think it would be a good idea. I mean,
it was one of the criteria, Tasha, on the form, your GPA.
That might be a little complicated with
right
situation with virtual schools, because I wouldn't put much stock in the GPA with this board.
Right.
Well, it's something we can, we can talk at our next meeting. It's just something, we can work on and see, can we bring it to the table to bring, some foundation to it, and it's just an idea. Has anybody else got any ideas of anything else after we get the our top 2 projects knocked out and we move forward?
Well, I do have another question. I know when we were meeting, we talked about picking a place that we would place a marker. Just, I think that we talked about the lodge on 8th and Princess.
The Masonic Lodge?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we've talked about it since. And I really think that, that's something we should consider doing or at least working on?
Okay. Yeah, because believe it or not, that is the #2 Masonic Lodge in the whole state of North Carolina. And it would be a good recognition for it, you know, as far as it being the #2 lodge, which was, you know, incorporated, or not incorporated, but formed or found, you know, in the whole state. So if you want me to, I could talk to the worshiper who's there, and see whether or not he would approve of maybe putting the marker on the building, and then we can move forward.
I don't think it was so much more that they would approve, because that's what had happened before. We just never moved as a committee.
As a committee.
And
Mhm.
right, and that's what I'm saying. I know that we've been kind of stagnant, but my concern is, you know, even the community is moving forward and we're not. And I would like to see, you know, us continue doing something, you know, moving forward with our mission as a part of the African American Commission. Because I don't know if those are aware, but there are certain elements and certain organizations or persons within our community that don't feel that we should exist. So, I just really want to keep moving and making sure that we do what we're supposed to be doing.
You're saying that there's some elements in the community that don't think that we should exist?
Right.
Could you elaborate on that just for a little bit?
It's just what I see. I mean, we are a small commission of the city of Wilmington, and I know that the circles that I interact with and the people that I know, there are persons that don't feel that we need to be in existence. So I don't want to lose what we have, and I don't want to squander what we've been given to do.
Okay.
So our community has a lot of rich history, and a lot of people don't know about it. I still get conversation around Meadowlark Lemon, and even so, a couple of weeks ago, I live on the north side. A couple of weeks ago, driving by his homestead. I mean, it's just amazing because that's still conversation. People never knew he was from here. So how can we keep our history important and relevant? And I think that this committee has that wherewithal to do that. And I don't want to see that fall by the wayside.
Hello. Well, one of the biggest things is when we start going back to our history and we start looking at the 1898 report. And so in the 1898 report, one of the recommendations was to force, or not to force, but to have implement a plan within the city of Wilmington or the state of North Carolina for African American history to be taught. And so has the committee, or has anyone that has questioned the existence of the committee, ever devised a plan around African American history, especially when you start looking at local history? Has anyone even come up with a plan or what elements or what standards can be integrated into the New Hanover County School curriculum based on the recommendations of the 1898 report?
I will say that Florence Warren was a person that tried that. A committee was formed several years ago, and she put together, or she was one of the persons that worked on the plan and presented it to the school system. And I'd have to go back and pull the records and what became of it, but it stopped in its tracks. Because she went and the committee got backup information to support their findings, and the fact that what was in the history books, there was nothing. But there was a plan and a committee that worked on just that several years ago.
Yeah, because I seen what the recommendations were when I looked at the 1898 report. And so then I was like, okay, so how far did it go? And I know there are certain schools, especially mine, where we do implement and we do talk about African American history. So when it is purposeful and it is done with intention, it can be done. But it does have to be a plan devised. I'm not saying that we have to do that right now today, but that
Right.
is something to where it has to be an integrated plan to where even if you get one teacher at each school to, integrate this curriculum, then that's just how it can be. But it can't just be like, oh, okay, well, this person, because I look at it like this, even though I grew up with Thomas Wright and Luke Jordan and Jacqueline Mars Goodson, and they did just as much as Metal Art Lemon did for the community. But when we get to all of these different things, how are we going to hone in and how are we going to make this a purposeful mission or a purposeful curriculum that is going to be ongoing to where you add leadership and you don't just limit it to where it's at in one place?
Why did I think that the state commission on African American history was doing that? Where did I get that from?
No, in the recommendations for the 1890, if you go to the 1898 project, if you go to the report, it's like the first couple of pages, they have recommendations in there. And one of the recommendations was to integrate the findings of the report and to integrate African American history. That was a recommendation. It wasn't something that was actually started, but it was a recommendation that was in the 1898 report. Does anybody, did anyone in the city or anywhere follow through with it? That's all I was just asking.
So just to, the NAACP this past summer worked with communities in school to do their Sankoff.
The Freedom Schools.
Right, the Freedom School. And from what I understand, that went so well that someone is actually trying to incorporate Black history within the curriculum. I don't remember who it is. I could follow up and find out. But if I'm not mistaken, that is something that they were talking about, making sure that some type of history be put into the school system. And once again, COVID, I don't know how that looks or how that even happens, but I think COVID was one of the things that kind of offset that. But like I said, when the NAACP did their Freedom School, that went so well that, they're trying to get bits and pieces or get some of that into the curriculum as far as the New Hanover County school system.
Yeah, it's a mandate. And I might, Freedom Schools are all over the United States. So this one is through communities and schools, but how do you know? This is all I'm saying. And this is a long conversation, it's 4:53 and I apologize. But when things are implemented, you don't want them just to be because this group is doing it. You want to make sure that it's in there for the long term. And so to make sure that whatever plan is implemented, because once community and schools is not doing Freedom Schools anymore, because it has a hashtag to it, how is it going to how does the commission make sure that everything that is implemented is going to be intentional and purpose and with a long lasting effect?
Right, and I get that. And once again, like I said, I think it's something to follow up on. I guess what I'm saying is I knew that someone from the school system was working on doing that. I don't know who, and I don't want to say that that we as a commission should be taking that on, because it seems as though that is a whole entirely different beast. But just I understand making sure that the history gets told. And that's why I offered the suggestion about doing a Zoom call or a Zoom meeting or a Zoom conference in reference to showcasing our local history to keep it relevant, relative and involved. But once again, Ms. Siberry, like I said, I will follow up and find out where the school system is with that part of it. Because you're right, it should have been done a long time ago.
Okay. And yeah, and since you've got a new school superintendent, he might be a little bit more partial to maybe kind of, you know, helping us out a little bit, you know. And another thing, as far as our commission, I guess what we can do is maybe sort of not guide, but maybe, you know, put in the forefront some things that we would like to do, you know, and with the blessing of the city, because I'm quite sure that if we get it before our commission, I guess Ms. Sibber is going to have to take everything to the city council. Is that right, Ms. Sibber?
Yes, sir. If it's outside of your mission, I mean, if it's within your mission, then you all are good. And I would just remind you all at some point, once we do come out of this virtual, you're overdue for making a report to the council as a body. So as long as you're working within your mission, then you should be good. That's why I'm here. Yes, sir.
Okay, is there anything else that y'all would like to bring forth? It's 4:56. And, you know, we don't like to keep our meetings no longer than an hour. And Mr. Johnson, is there anything else you would like to bring forward?
I think at the moment, I know we're due, or actually overdue for elections as well. So we got to put that on the next agenda.
Oh, yeah.
That would be great. That would be great. And I think that would be our October's meeting.
Yes, sir. I'll make a note of it.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. So if there's not anything else, and it is 4:57, I think we can adjourn for today.
Thank you all so much for your time. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank y'all.
All
All
right.
right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.